first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thank you for joining us today. I just surprised our guest by bringing her on before introducing myself, but nonetheless, that's all right. You're going to find out who it is here in a minute anyway. This is Fox 12 Now, so we are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, and we appreciate all of you joining us. So we are here every weekday starting at 1 p.m., going throughout the afternoon and covering a wide range of topics here on this show. And there it is, what we're going to be talking about today. So Travel Oregon, of course, we like having them on, just learning about different things that are going on around the state, but in particular today, we're going to talk about outdoor accessibility, something that's really been a focus, and we're going to find out more about that and some of those different ways that people can enjoy the outdoors that maybe previously there could have been hurdles or obstacles that could have kept somebody from doing that. Now there are ways to get over that, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So joining us right now, you already saw her, but nonetheless, Allie Gardner joining us. Allie, thank you for being here today. Really appreciate your time in being here on the show, and every time just talking about those different things that are going on around the state, but this in particular, with outdoor accessibility is a big one. Could you let everybody know, though, in case they don't know, just a little bit about Travel Oregon and what it is?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Greg. So Travel Oregon is the destination management organization, and we're charged with stewarding the state's $14.1 billion tourism economy. And so we're fully funded by a 1.5% statewide lodging tax, which comes from a tax on, any place you might stay, hotels, campgrounds, short-term rentals. And then we reinvest that money back into the communities to try to build and sustain a strong tourism economy. So that means developing ad campaigns, supporting regional partners with strategic investments. We distribute millions of dollars in grant funds every year to promote tourism promotion and build infrastructure. We also work hand in hand with communities across the state to develop tourism economies locally. So trying to help them determine what's special about their communities and how to share it with the world. And we also operate 8 welcome centers across the state, including one at Portland International Airport, to help inspire and inform visitors and welcome them to Oregon.
Wow, so that's really working on every single factor that you could possibly think of that somebody would be interacting with the state of Oregon, whether it's,
Yes.
Oregon as a whole or even down to these communities, as you mentioned,
Yes.
going to them. So a community could come to you and say, hey, we want to bring some tourists in. You can work with them to help them develop what that would be.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a program, we call them destination studios, rural destination studios, where we'll go in and some members of our team and staff will work with partners and invite community members in and have, kind of workshops talking about, challenges they might have, issues they might anticipate, how to develop different tourism experiences and niche travel trend opportunities in different areas, and really help them decide and determine what's so special about where they live and why it might appeal to visitors, and then really try to build on that, to try to reinforce their local economy. So it's very exciting, and all with an eye on making sure that we're also being respectful and improving quality of life for residents at the same time. So a lot of we are definitely focused on visitors, but we're also focused on residents. I mean, people that live here, we're so lucky to be able to call Oregon home. I play tourist all the time in Oregon, so we get to take advantage of all this great infrastructure and all these great experiences that we have. And we also want to make sure that people's everyday lives are enhanced and enriched by tourism as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The best of everything for everyone who's being involved in that. Yeah, that's great. And I do the same thing. I'm a tourist in the state as well. So I always enjoy that. Yeah. I mean, there's so many places even still that I haven't been to. So that part's always fun. But something else, that we're looking at here today is talking about accessibility, which for people maybe with mobility concerns or different things, that can be a real challenge to get out, especially outdoors to some places. And can you talk about just the program overall and just some of the different ways that is being changed to help out people to get access to some of these areas?
Yeah, sure. So I think if you think about accessibility from a perspective of the number of travelers with disabilities and the various types of disabilities. So I think the number is somewhere along the lines of maybe 15% of the world's population have some degree of disability. And for many of those people, just thinking about travel can be really daunting. And so, and if you think about the friends and family of those people, when you put everyone together, that's nearly a third of us maybe that might be affected or directly or indirectly by tourism travel challenges that someone might have with this disability. And not to mention the fact that we're all aging. Unfortunately, we hate to think about it, but we are. And some of us also have young children in strollers. And so there are various mobility challenges that we might have for one reason or another. And I think that currently travelers with disabilities make up about $120 billion in the world travel market, but it should easily be double or triple that. But the problem is access. And so, planning trips can be scary. You might not have a lot of confidence not knowing if a destination will meet your needs. Or if when you get there, say you want to focus on outdoor accessibility, are you going to be able to get to the beach or get on a trail? What kinds of barriers are you going to run into? So there are a lot of issues like that that come into play. So we've really been working and pretty intensely with our partners in trying to make Oregon a more accessible place and to remove some of those barriers so that we can, be welcoming for everybody. And so there's work across the state happening to make trails accessible, to include inclusive signage, to make lodging facilities accessible, to make kayak launches ADA accessible, and even to help make guided experiences and tour operators offer more accessible experiences. And so there's a lot of work going on around the state, but it's all really exciting. And Oregon is becoming known as an accessible destination. So it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And I want to get into some examples here in a minute, but, talking about that as Oregon being known as a travel destination, there's in particular one designation that I understand that you're working toward.
Yes, yeah. So right now we are working toward becoming the very first state to be destination verified by Wheel the World. Wheel the World is it's basically an online travel agency booking platform for travelers with disabilities. It's really well regarded, well known in those communities, and they provide support and assessments of areas in terms of how accessible they are. And so right now we're supporting the 7 regions of the state. Well, the Oregon coast and Central Oregon are actually already destination verified. So we're working with the other 5 regions to make sure that we have accessible offerings all across the state, and that we can have we have assessments being done so a traveler can go to the Wheel of the World site, choose Oregon, and see all of the different options that are available to them. They can plan trips and itineraries, and they'll know exactly what they're in for when they get here. And so it would be the first state. It's very exciting, and it would make it easier for people to plan trips and get the support that they need.
I mean, that's fantastic. And as you mentioned, 2 regions already are destination verified. And talking about the Oregon coast in particular, of all the different places that people can go, there's really been a lot of work done over there as far as accessibility concerns and making sure that people do have access. Could you give us maybe a couple of examples of that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Lincoln City is a great example. So I mentioned earlier about, access to a beach. So, if you're in a wheelchair, or even if you have a stroller, or even if you have trouble walking or use a walker or some assisted device, it can be really hard to walk around in the deep sand or to roll in the deep sand. And so one of the really cool things that Lincoln City is doing in collaboration with Lincoln City Parks and Rec is to have mobility mats. They're also known as Mobi mats. And you can see that from the image. They're basically like walkways that are rolled out, rollways, I guess you'd call them, that are laid out on the beach so that someone in a wheelchair or using an assisted device can roll right out there nearly to the waves. And so before that, those people might have had to stay up on the lookout point, and now they can join their families down on the beach. It's really exciting. And so there are 4 different access points on the beaches in Lincoln City. I think the mats might only be out seasonally right now, but it's a good portion of the year. And they're also available in Seaside and maybe a couple of other locations as well. But really exciting to see that. And then there are also, if for a different kind of disability, it would be a color deficiency. So people that have maybe color blindness or can't see all of the color spectrum. There's a new program called Enchroma glasses, which actually help correct that so that you can see a wider spectrum of color. And those are available for free for free loan at the Lincoln City Community Center. And so those can help you see the colors of a beautiful Oregon coast sunset, or maybe visit one of the arts or culture offerings in Lincoln City, or, yes, enjoy the outdoors and see the blues and the greens and the reds, and do it. Do it with the Enchroma glasses on. So that's really great.
And I love those ones too. I mean, these are all fantastic, but I mean, that's something that outwardly, somebody may not know that someone has that. I actually have a good friend who has that, and I had no idea. But this just changes their entire perspective of everything, of being able to utilize that, and that's great. So those are something that would be that are available for people to go use.
Yeah. And one of the, I think what you said there about how you can't see. Oh, did I freeze?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Oh, maybe you did freeze. I can still hear you though. We're live, so anybody who's watching this right now, this happens sometimes.
Sorry, I think am I back now?
Yep, you're back now.
Sorry, Greg. I don't know what happened. I froze.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. So some of these disabilities are non-visible, right? Like that. So like color blindness, you might not know someone has that. Also sensory issues and things like autism, aren't always visible. And so those are some also other disabilities that we've been working to try to address and to meet the needs of.
Yeah, and it's something that makes it inclusive and for everybody to be able to, again, enjoy the outdoors, enjoy these different activities as they should. Yeah. And I know there's definitely some interest in a new park there in Lincoln City as well that addresses some of those issues. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah. Schooner Creek Discovery Park Playground is actually just phase 1, I think, opened up in December of last year, and it's the first inclusive and accessible playground in Lincoln City. It is really beautiful and neat, and it has different options for people of different abilities, different challenges, but everyone can use the playground, and it's really great. And they have 2 more phases that will be rolling out over the next year or 2, which will make that a true community resource. But right now you can go play on it, you can bring your kids, and everyone can enjoy it.
I was going to pull up an example of that, but people can certainly look that up. But yeah, I mean, just the idea though that you could have those different options there available, for people to go utilize and have those experiences. And so what's the feedback been like so far for, these pushes? This has been going on for a while and certainly continues to go on, but what's the feedback been like from the community and travelers and tourists in general to these kinds of initiatives?
Yeah, the feedback has been really positive. So we haven't done I don't have formal data for you in terms of a survey or anything at this point. I'm sure we will do that. But we've had lots of anecdotal feedback. So we've invited influencers that have disabilities and other media to come experience Oregon. And some of them, there was one was so excited to be able to go skiing. Never done that before, but we have Oregon Adaptive Sports was offering a ski tour, and they have assisted technology to make that possible. Very exciting. So Oregon's sort of becoming known as the outdoor adventure destination for travelers with disabilities, which is really great. We've also had feedback from people who, again, were able to step out on the beach with their family for the first time, maybe ever, maybe in a long time, and just being able to have those things that most people take for granted, just that ability to get somewhere special, can be really difficult. We've also have in the Bend area, Wanderlust Adventures. They offer a more adventurous guided experience with something called an Advent chair, which is a really rugged, all-terrain wheelchair that your friends and family can help move along, so that you're able to actually climb a mountain or go someplace where a normal chair couldn't. So we're getting really great feedback from people. And like I said, we're actually we're making a name for ourselves in the state as a really inclusive and welcoming destination. And we're hosting the Travelability Summit in Oregon this year, which is a conference that's annual now, that's totally dedicated to inclusive travel. And they wanted to come see us at Sun River because of all the work we've been doing. So it's been really great.
That's really good. I mean, again, kind of going back to what I was saying, this hits on, every level kind of it for these communities. It's one is bringing tourists in. and travel dollars and that as well, but also for these people who maybe didn't have access to something before, they're getting to experience it, and their families are getting to experience it with them and their friends. And so that's really great seeing these different initiatives. And so for everybody out there who wants to learn more, about some of these different things, and maybe it's the first time hearing about some of them, or they don't know where to go look for all of those, is there a good resource or a place they can go to at least start exploring and learning more about some of these different things and these initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great it's a great question. There are a few different resources. So on the traveloregon.com website, we have accessible pages dedicated to accessible experiences and outdoor adventure and trails that you can go to. And so that's a great resource. There's also, like I mentioned, that Wheel the World website, which hopefully this summer will be updated with all of the Oregon opportunities. And then there's also an accessibility outdoor guide that was created by the Willamette Partnership that you can find on their website, which is also really comprehensive for the state. And yeah, I think most places are now including this information on their websites. And so it's easier to find than it used to be, but there are a lot of opportunities out there, so much more than there used to be. And it's just really heartening to see.
That's great. Well, Allie, thank you very much for having time to talk to us today about this as well. And, I know we just barely scratched the surface on some of these different things that are out there, but as you mentioned, there's some resources that people can go to. And anything else that you think is important just for people to know?
No, I think this has been really great. I would just say too that, the work that we do, like I mentioned before, is visitor focused, but it also really benefits residents. And so all of these things that we've been investing in and working towards, one day we all might need. And so it's really great to see it happening now, so that we can keep enjoying this beautiful place we're so lucky to call home, no matter what our challenges might be.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you too. And for everybody watching, we are live here. And since we are live, you may have noticed some buttons got pressed wrong. We'll just say that was me, because it was. So that happens sometimes, but this is part of the show. Fox 12 Now, we get to live stream here. We get to have these longer form conversations and really go in depth with this. And we really appreciate everybody who joins us for that. Don't forget to download the Fox 12 Oregon app. Great way to follow along with this show and everything else that we do here, along with KPTV.com. And feel free to send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. And I'll talk